Okay. So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining today. This is our second free webinar. We're doing this of webinars so that everyone can learn from each other and we can all, improve, broaden our skills. So today's webinar, we're very grateful to have John Beckley with us. The webinar is going to be focusing on personal branding in social media. But before I introduce John and before we start, just some rules. Please mute yourselves when we start. I have just muted all of you so that there is no background noise. If you want to speak, please unmute yourself. And we are a manageable number, although it might be a bit too confusing if everyone steps in. So if you want to ask a question, it's okay to ask the question as we go, but please, you can write it down on the chat and I will filter the questions and interrupt John when he's speaking and ask the question for you. Okay, I think that's the way to go since we are quite a number of people right now. But apart from that, the plan is to have John presenting for around half an hour, and then we will open to more questions. And then, yeah, maybe you can jump in, but I will let you know when to do that, okay? So let me then introduce John. He's originally from South Africa, but he has worked in digital marketing in the Canary Islands for over 20 years now. So he's basically from the Canary Islands now. And he's currently the owner of the social media agency, Canary PR, and the founder of a sustainable nonprofit, Canary Green. And before I let John introduce himself in more detail and go ahead with the presentation, I just remember I didn't introduce myself to those of you who don't know me yet. And I see a lot of you guys I don't know. So I'm Elsa Rodriguez, and I'm leading this this initiative called Tenerife Work and Play, which is a public initiative from the local government, from the Cabildo de Tenerife, which main objective is to attract more digital talent to the island, more remote workers, more entrepreneurs, more digital nomads. And at the same time, we also coordinate the community of remote workers and digital nomads here in the island together with other stakeholders and key people who manage co-workings and co-livings and so on. And we normally do events, physical events, and we go around the island all year around, but unfortunately due to this situation we cannot do that. That's why we started these webinars as well. So without further ado, I let John continue. So John, the screen is all yours. You have to unmute yourself and
I have done, yeah.
Go ahead. Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Hi,
Thank
everyone.
you for being here.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for signing in. Just quickly, so you know I've been here in the Canary Islands for 20 years, and I actually started out with a web design agency company 20 years ago, in 2000. And we specialized in, right in the beginning when websites came out, we started with Flash technology. So we were the first company here bringing Flash web design, and we used to have the aeroplane flying across the screen. And everyone really went, wow, that's incredible. And we were selling these like hotcakes, and it was amazing. And then someone said, I can't find it in the search engines. In those days, we had like Alta Vista, and the only way you could really find the Flash sites was through like Yahoo directory listings, and which is, as we all know, is not really practical way to find different things. So, so then we started figuring out how do we get the sites ranked in the search engines, because that was really important. So the whole company started switching towards SEO. So we became kind of SEO and pay-per-click specialists, especially with the real estate and tourism sectors. And when social media came along, I actually only got involved in social media because I thought it was part of SEO, that if people are talking about you in the social media, it'll help your rankings in the search engines. So that's what I started with. And basically what's happened is we've evolved now into social media. And the difficult point is for everyone here to understand is social is called social media, and people don't associate it with business. So today we're going to try and talk about the art of social media with business and your personal brands. Okay. Also, am I talking too fast? Is everything okay? You can hear me okay?
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, can I share a screen?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, let me just need to go back a few slides. Okay, so today we're going to talk about social media, the basics. We're going to talk about practical tips for freelancers and small businesses in personal branding. And then we're going to talk about what's going on now with the coronavirus and crisis management. So if we just go there. So if you've got a takeaway from this talk today, this is not about social media. This is about a change in the way we communicate. And I think what's happened with COVID-19 now is that this is just going to fast track the change that was happening anyway. And if you could see the way we're all talking now with conference calls, we could actually have been doing this for the last 10 years. But what's this doing is getting mainstream business to start accepting work from home, working more with freelancers, working more with web conferencing. These are the changes that are going to come thick and fast now. So this is about a change in the way we communicate, and of course in social media. And I don't know if any of you know, there's a futurist called Gert Leonard, and he predicted that humanity is going to change in the next 20 years more than it has in the last 300 years. And I don't know if any of you would agree with that, but he said that 3 years ago. So if you go back a few years and see how fast things are changing, and later I'm going to be talking about, this is like a snowball going down the hill and it's getting bigger and faster and the rate of change. So stop thinking about social media as social, as friends connecting. Start thinking about it as a change in the way we communicate. And the rate of change now is going to happen faster. Okay. So we're going to start with the social media. So of course we have so many different platforms, and a lot of people want to know, how do you, which platform should I use? How should I behave in each platform? But I think if you understand the principles of social media, you will, because it applies for all of them. So once you understand the principles, you can then go forward almost in every platform, and any new platform that comes in, they kind of adopt the same kind of style. So I'm just going to run through these 11 and just explain them quickly. So in social media, it's very much soft sell. It's not getting in front of people's faces and really trying to hard sell them. People don't like that. Don't forget, they're using these social media for themselves as a social platform with their friends. So when a brand comes in aggressively trying to sell, it puts people off. So if you personally trying to sell yourself or trying to sell your small business, it's very much soft selling. It's about engagement. Okay, not just the selling. It's about forming communities around your social engagement. And it's always about giving more than you take in social media. So it's co-promoting and helping other people. Point number 2 is about being real time with consistency. Okay, so I know right in the beginning of when video and YouTube came out, a lot of people were making this cinematographic kind of video, and we've kind of evolved out of that now into becoming more real-time video, being honest, being transparent, and it's not about that perfect image anymore. And I think they said in 2020, 85% of the internet is consumed now by video, and most of that is on mobile. So you need to understand that video is really driving everything at the moment. So if you're not in video for your small business or for yourself, you should try and get into it. And everything should be mobile first. So if you're looking at platforms of how does it look, always look at mobile first. Okay. And understanding the tone of each platform. So each platform, if you are on TikTok, it's very different to LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is basically like Facebook for business. And then TikTok is fun and younger people, and it's all silly. So look at each platform, understand how they talk, how they perform, and then take the tone of what the platform is requiring. The next thing is, if you're a small business, the most important thing is not how you self-promote yourself, it's how you socially listen. So it's basically listening to what people are saying about you, specifically your brand, or around your brand. So even if you're a hotel, for example, a small hotel, you would want to know what people are talking around your destination as well, not just your brand, if that makes sense to everyone. And then point number 6, being in a constant state of learning. I think this is so important that people don't understand, because we keep talking about this rate of change is coming so fast. We have to be in this constant state of wanting to learn and wanting to evolve. Okay, so I know most of us don't enjoy change in our lives, but we have to kind of embrace it and set ourselves up in a way to change. So in a constant state of learning, and that we accept change and we evolve and change. Point number 7, personalization. So if you look at, in the old days, everything was about the logo, about the brand itself. Whereas what's happening now with social media, it's breaking it down into the personalities within the company. So the same as what happens offline when these people are selling to each other, is that people buy from people. And that's what's happening in social media now. Everything is becoming more personalized. So it's called employee advocacy. If you can try and get your staff and employees to get involved in talking with you and communicating on your social media platforms. Point number 8, new rules and working together and co-promoting. So I've run several programs for my clients where we've worked on partnership programs. So for a small hotel here, what we've done is signed up that the excursion partners for the hotel guests become almost ingrained into our product, and they become almost partners. And this has been really successful. We've gone up like 200% in our excursion sales, and people are looking at our hotel for the experiences we offer now, not the bed we're selling. So if you've got a product, is how could you partner with different people where it's co-promoting, you getting access to their kind of client list and they're getting access to yours in a social way. A new study has shown that there's more people using messenger apps now than like Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp and private groups than what's actually happening in social media. So I'm not sure if that's a privacy thing or what, but basically what people are doing is moving away from this public forum into more private consolidated niches of, like I'm sure the same with all of you, you're in several different WhatsApp groups. Like I play paddle, so I'm in a WhatsApp group for paddle. I'm in a WhatsApp group for my company. I'm in a WhatsApp group with my clients. So just so you're aware of that, we need to be opening our business up. For example, your company should have a company WhatsApp number, definitely, and be able to answer real time 24/7, but obviously if someone wants to ask you a question about your brand or product at 10 o'clock at night, you should be able to answer it real time. The next thing is what's right around the corner is augmented reality, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, voice activation devices. It's going this way whether we like it or not. And this is not something in the future. This is really happening right now. And I think COVID-19, accompanied with sustainability, climate change, this is just going to fast track everything into this kind of new world that we're coming into. And I know for a lot of people, this is quite scary and they don't want to move into this way. But basically we have to face facts. You have to be part of it. You have to be part of this change and to embrace it in your way. Not everyone has to go full hog. You have to do it in your way. Okay. I hope everyone got all of that. I wasn't talking too fast. So when Blockbuster heard about Netflix streaming, they were laughing at them. And you saw what happened to Blockbuster. They just went bankrupt in a very short period of time, and everyone's kind of like using Netflix now. And that model just was a total disruption to the video sector. And there's countless examples. Steve Ballmer from said on this interview here on YouTube that the iPhone would never take 1% of the smartphone market. And they just came in and blew them away, where Microsoft actually sat back and they didn't believe in apps, that apps would take over. So we've seen all examples. This is Boris Johnson's brother, and I listened to him last year in November, and he's a futurist. So he's kind of predicting where this is all heading. And he goes to companies where they're talking about augmented reality, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, voice. He said he went to a company recently, and they were putting chips in mice and being able to control the mice getting out of a maze, but using a computer. And so that's amazing if you think about where this is all heading. And it's here now. It's in the factories. It's there. It just hasn't become mainstream yet. Okay, I was just talking about that, augmented reality, virtual reality, and we're talking about everything that this is the snowball going down the hill. It's getting bigger and faster, and it's to embrace this movement of change, not to fight it. We can't say, well, I still enjoy holding up a newspaper now. We have to learn how to use, for example, Feedly, which pulls all different websites into one app, and you can read it. That's the kind of change we're talking about, is evolving. Okay, Elsa, I don't know if anyone wants to ask questions before we go on to the next section. Are there any questions?
There are no questions for now. But everyone feel free to write any questions down on the chat anytime, and we can interrupt John. Is not a problem at all. We want this to be as interactive as possible, so feel free to.
Does anyone want to ask a question now on the mic?
Yeah, or feel free to jump in if you prefer. But I think.
Okay, yeah. Keep going.
Yeah, we keep going. Feel free to interrupt, guys. Okay,
so we're going to talk now just a bit about personal branding. How many of you Googled me before? Can you just raise your hand? How many of you Googled me before coming onto this talk? Okay, I can't see. I don't know else if you can see any hands.
Nobody's raising their hand.
Okay, but what I'm talking about is that not about me, but my ego doesn't need it. But if you're going into a talk like this, it's a good idea to search people before and to find out who's talking, what are they talking, do they know what they're talking about. This could apply straight away also for meetings. You know, if you're going to have a sales call with someone, everything's open in the public. If both your daughters actually go to the same horse riding school and you didn't even know that, it's something common that you can find out through just having a quick Google search on the person before you meet with them or try and sell to them or whatever. Okay, so I remember an intern working for me at the hotel in Lanzarote said to me when she was leaving, so I said, so what have you learned working with me? And she says, I've learned how to stalk people. So that was the skills that I taught someone. So if you search John Dale Beckley, my name, if you click on the image search and if you see the search results, everything is kind of controlled by me. And I'm not leaving it. If you can, like after this talk now, if all of you just go to your Google account and just Google your name and see what comes up, is that what you want people to see about yourself? So I hate the term personal branding. It doesn't sit with me well at all. But the term of managing my reputation is important to me. And that's what I'm talking about today. It's not about personal branding. It's about your reputation online. So if you're wanting to do business with someone or if you're wanting to get a job and I'm going to Google your name, what do I think of you if I haven't spoken to you yet? And that's what you kind of want to put out there in a real and honest way. I'm not saying to go and manufacture things, but to go out there. So for example, if you click on my Twitter, you can see that I did 5 tweets yesterday, for example. You can see that I've updated my YouTube channel. I'm on LinkedIn and I've got 500 plus contacts and I've got lots of people that have recommended me. So all of this is social proof. And it allows you to present yourself, to get the job you want, to start the business you want, or to get a promotion, all of these things. It gives you a step up. And I think we just need to learn to understand this stuff because it's all new. If you go back 10 years, none of this was really a thing. So in terms of humanity and business, it's like 1 second of history that we're looking at here. It's a change that's happening, and we just need to learn how to play in this new arena for ourselves. This is my daughter, for example. So she's 16, she's grown up with social media. And we had dinner the other night and she had to put her phone away. And when she picked it up after, she goes, oh, wow, I've got 360 WhatsApp messages from her classmates. 360 during the course of a 45-minute dinner. And she doesn't think that's not normal. So these kids are so fast, they're communicating in a total different world through TikTok, through Instagram, through WhatsApp, and they do not care how something looks. They want the message as fast, as quick. They don't have long attention spans. it's a different world that's coming through into our world. And if you think, I mean, I'm 48 years old, but if you think how I grew up, I was in the mountains in South Africa. We never had anything like this. So it's going to be a total game changer for this when this new generation starts coming into management and moving things so fast around. So I just wanted to give an example. So these are my nerds from my old web design company, and they first started talking about personal branding 10, 12 years ago, and we published photos of ourselves through our company Flickr accounts of going to the beach one day and eating at a restaurant. And so it wasn't just work photos, we also put some personal photos like this. And I remember the boys saying to me at that time, John, what are you doing? We're not going to sell anything through photos of ourselves half naked. And we actually got a call from a company in Marbella that wanted us to produce a website for them. And they paid us 27,000 euros. They asked me to fly over there, which I did. And they gave us a contract for 27,000. And I said to him, why did you choose us? I'm sure there's better companies in Madrid or Barcelona. And he said, no, I wanted a company that was going to be with us for the long term, because this is actually going to be a big project. And he said, I wanted a team that was together as friends, as I could see who you were. So if you remember the old websites before, is the contact page was basically a telephone number, an email address, and a form. There was no faces or photos. And he said, you guys put all these kind of photos in your product mix. And he said, that's what I wanted. I wanted a team taking my project on. So that was the first time when I started thinking about, okay, this actually does work. People do want to see who I'm dealing with and who they are and what they are. Okay. I hope that makes sense to everyone. So this is Pastana Hotels in London. I went to meet with them. These are all from different departments. So basically in small businesses now, someone communicating with you want to communicate that if you're a small hotel and you've got a restaurant, a reception, we don't want to take it out of the channel of communication. So if someone's trying to buy from you through Facebook Messenger, you want to answer them through that channel. And if it's to do with support or sales or whatever it is you should have it across all departments and figure out how to answer through all the channels. So the lady on the left, Michelle, she valued her privacy and she didn't want to have her private connections connected through her business. So we got speaking and she was saying, oh, but I'm actually friends with the lady that sells the Oval Cricket Ground and all the international teams that come to play there. She says they all stay at our hotel, but we're friends on Facebook because we have the same hobby of indoor planting. So we talk every week about our indoor plants and this one's flowering and whatever they say. I don't know what they're saying. But the point is, her relationship with the person that controls where these teams stay was made through and secured and strengthened through her Facebook friendship with her. And she was the one that was saying to me, I value my privacy and I want to keep it all separate. But her biggest client that was giving her the most business, corporate business, was actually coming through her Facebook connections. Okay. So again, I'm just going to show you some slides of my personal profile and how I think you want to manage your profile. Is when you do a Google search, is you want to be able to see images of yourself. So go and Google yourself. If it's not there, I'm not saying to do it all in one go, but when photos are published of you, is make sure you're tagging yourself correctly in the photos so that it can come up in Google search, and it can be different photos, not just passport style photos, but photos of your hobby. So I'm into golf and paddle. For those kind of photos should come up. And then again, you don't, of course, I'm in all the platforms, but you need to choose what platforms you want to play in, and then make sure you're optimizing your platforms so that if someone comes to, let's say, for example, you make YouTube videos, is if someone comes there, you want to make sure it's presented and it's laid out as best you can. So putting header images, and again, this is the same for all the platforms. A lot of them offer header images. A lot of them offer an about page where you can explain yourself. I mean, how many times have I gone to someone that's a freelance copywriter or filmmaker or photographer, and I look at their Facebook page or their YouTube, and I click on about because I want to know more about you, and you've just not filled it in. And so the nature of the way people are using social media now is they're clicking on your about page and they want to see who you are. So tell us what you're doing, where you're from, just something basic and give us a link to your website.
John,
Yes.
can you hear me? Okay. There is a question from Laurinas, who was actually our speaker last week for the first webinar. And he's asking, what is your opinion about using too many channels? I mean,
okay, good question.
Or Laurinas, can you jump in and ask yourself?
Hi, John.
Maybe it's easier.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm just having one question. What's your opinion about using too much different channels? I mean, in quality basis, if you're like literally using everything, and when the company or a brand uses like literally every single social media that does exist, in terms of quality, what's your opinion in this situation?
Listen, I don't think so everything I'm saying today is not written in stone and this is the way to go. So it's my personal opinion. In the past, I used to focus just on Facebook. And in 2015, Facebook changed the algorithm and I lost like 60%, 70% of my traffic in almost one day. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I was the marketing manager for a big hotel, and we were getting unbelievable traction through our social media Facebook page. And from then on, I started creating all the different platforms. Flickr, we got 13, by the time I left of 3 years, we'd got 13 million views on our high resolution photos we had published on Flickr. 10,000 photos we published. We were in all the channels, Twitter, Instagram, all the channels, Vine, we even had a channel there. And we learned basically is that your clients and the people you follow of your product and your brand, you need to see where they are. For example, if you're selling high-end business software and solutions, you don't want to be on TikTok. So choose where your clients are, but I would say don't try and put all your eggs in one basket. So don't just be on YouTube. If you're creating videos, learn how to break the videos up and use it in Instagram, in Facebook. So you're spreading your bets a little bit, but you're not going all the way. Like I've stopped using Pinterest because I think here in Europe, Pinterest just hasn't taken off as much as it did in the States. And for years, I was trying to give it a chance to work, and it just didn't work, and it was tough. So I think you need to figure out where my clients or my potential clients that I'm wanting to work with, what platforms are they using, and then I need to play in those channels. And if they want to talk to me in those channels, I'm open and receptive to engaging in them in those channels. Okay.
Yeah,
is that good enough?
Yeah, I think so. But just like in one more thing, in quality basis, you have just only 2 hands and 2 eyes, right?
Yeah. I find a lot of people that say
something in the middle, like concentrate. Yeah. I know that don't put anything to one basket. I know what you mean. This is a good thing, but still, like using too much social media, different ones, it's also a bad thing, I think.
Yeah, I agree. So the thing about this, what I found is a lot of the time it has to do with education. So people say to me, I don't have time to tweet. And once you get into Twitter and you know how to use Twitter, it's literally a few seconds to retweet, to comment on a tweet, to follow, to engage. And a lot of it has to do with understanding each platform and then knowing how to use it and to work with it. So let's say, choose one platform that's your main focus. And like you're saying, put your energy in there, but still know how to use Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, for example. Because even if YouTube is your main platform, you're still playing in the other channels where your clients are and that they can connect with you. But it's just about educating yourself. And because a lot of this stuff is more about organizing yourself and getting it out there than the time. People always think it's about the time. I mean, I'm in all the channels and I'm in my clients' channels. So you need to learn how to play and to move on, not to get sidetracked and watching cat videos on Facebook. And because often social media does that to you, it pulls you sideways and where's the time gone in getting distracted?
Yeah, I think the comment from Jig Old, I don't know, saying that it should adjust to your target audience at the end of the day, right? So
yeah,
it depends on.
But even then, what if if you have all your eggs in that one basket and they change the rules, they're controlling your business.
Mm.
That's why it's really important that you have your own website and you have your own mailing list and you own the relationship with your client. So even if you're really strong on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, that you get them all back onto your mailing list. Because let's say YouTube changed the rules, which they have done for a lot of people where they just lost their whole business overnight. You've still got that kind of base that's yours in your own landing page, your own mailing list, if that makes sense to everyone.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on then.
Okay. So again, if we're talking about the business of social media and personal branding and your reputation, LinkedIn is fantastic. We should all be on LinkedIn. We should all know, you should all be, everything's free on YouTube. Beginner's guide to using LinkedIn. Go and Google some videos and watch them and get to know it. Make sure your profile is really filled out as much as, if you've done charity work, make sure it's in there. Make sure you're connecting with everyone in your sector. So don't treat this like Facebook or Instagram, where it's mostly your friends and family and people that you kind of like. This is business. So you never know where connections are coming from. So what I do is I don't really connect with anyone. I connect with people that are involved in my sector. So it'll be tourism, it'll be hotels, sustainability, those kind of sectors. I will connect wherever you are in the world. I'll connect with you. If you a children's school in India, I'm not going to connect with you. I'm not. So figure out what's your sector and get to 500 plus connections as quick as you can, because it sits as 501 or I've got 28,000. Okay. And then again, when you're updating your profile, let me just go back here. You can add your CV, you can add videos to your profile. You've got recommendations. So I've got about 45 people that have recommended me where I've gone and done talks at their hotels or companies and they've given me a recommendation afterwards. Is really to build that up. And it's taken me 10 years to get to that. So the point is you've got to start somewhere. And when you start and keep building it up, it looks really good afterwards. When these companies are getting your CV or your sales pitch and it's just on piece of paper and you're comparing with other companies, let them have the opportunity to come back and see that you've been endorsed by all these other people, that this is your qualification, this is what you've studied, this is your experience. Okay. And also updating articles in LinkedIn and your activity is really important. So it's almost like Facebook for business. It operates almost the same way, where you have a feed, you have your own profile, you have connections. Again, Facebook, very popular. I connect with all people that I've actually worked with or done business with, or if, like for any of you, please feel free to make friends with me on Facebook. And Facebook works really great, but don't come hardcore selling your product because people just don't want it in their face. So it's always about giving. It's always about showing what you know and helping other people. And it's been great to see this during the COVID-19, that the communities have really come together in a positive way. I've really been impressed to see how people have been sharing these videos together, having humor and dealing with this crisis, because this is really a crisis that we've never seen before. And Facebook has largely brought a lot of people together through that. And again, if you come to my page and click on my about, you can see what I'm involved in. You can see, so after this now, go and have a look at your Facebook pages, click on your about, say, if I don't know who I am, does this make sense to what I'm trying to do with my business career and my personal brand? And again, this is Flickr. And on Flickr, I put all photos. So if I have it, that's my team there. That's my daughter. We're publishing all sorts of photos, business, private, and it goes up there. I've had over 1 million views on my photos. I'm not a professional photographer by any means, but people like real photos and they can see who I am. I remember the director of the Palacio de Zora, before, the sales manager there, he was in Cuba and he did a search to come and work at the Palacio de Zora, and he didn't want to go to another 5-star hotel. And he Googled Alcalá, which is the town attached to the hotel, and he saw my photos from Fiesta Blanca. And he was like, wow, you sold the Pueblo to me. You sold this little town to me that I wanted to come and live in the town and then work in the 5-star hotel. And he saw me in the bank. He recognized me from my photos. So it does influence people. It does show who you are and connect with people. But again, you can see I've been doing this for forever on Flickr since it opened, and I've only got 249 followers. But these photos all come up in Google search, in Yahoo search, in Google Maps. So it's just optimizing the photos with tags and getting them indexed properly. And again, Instagram is on fire still. If you're not using Instagram, I'd strongly suggest getting into it. Stories, again, stories really came from Snapchat, where they kind of delete after 24 hours. And the trend was, the kids kind of set us on this motion where they were doing it with Snapchat and the photos were deleting. But now if you look at Facebook stories and look at Instagram stories, I'm getting more views through stories than actually through my actual main feed. And again, if this is Canary Green, the sustainability project we're working with, and you can see that my profile page comes up in the search results when you're clicking for me. I just wanted to give you one example of, I was looking for an assistant manager when I was working in Lanzarote at a hotel. And this lady, Maria, sent her CV to me along with 100 other people. And I had a big file there and I was thinking, oh my God, I've got to go through all these people. How do I know which is the best one for me? Everyone was kind of really well qualified. Maria was actually a qualified lawyer. So I actually thought she wasn't qualified because we were a marketing department. And her friend popped her head in the door of my office and said, did you see Maria's CV? And I said, no. And then she said, well, have a look at her YouTube channel. And I looked at her YouTube channel and she had made these sports videos. And it was incredible. I was like blown away with the videos she was making. I looked at her Flickr photos. I looked at her tweets. She had done over 5,000 tweets. I looked at her LinkedIn profile. I picked up the phone. I said, Maria, where are you? I'm driving to you. You've got the job. And I got in my car and I drove to her and we agreed terms straight away because that is exactly who I wanted. I didn't even speak to her before she got the job. I knew she was the person that we wanted there. And she got headhunted. She's now head of branding for Lanzarote Tourism. So I didn't even look at the other CVs. And that's my point to all of you guys today, is that if you are selling something, if you are selling yourself to get a job, is think about that this is the way of the world now, that people are going to be looking at you, they are going to be judging you and evaluating you even before they speak to you. And likewise, you should be doing the same to other people. So that's the story of Maria. So your personal brand, we keep talking about that.
John,
it's your
John, sorry.
That...
Yeah, let me jump in because there is a question from Lorenzo. Before you were talking about Instagram stories, and he's saying, are they really useful if they disappear so quickly?
Okay, good question, Lorenzo. When stories first came along, my whole job as an agency is to produce reports and to give it to my client to show them what I've done. So when you're doing all these stories and they're deleting afterwards, I was like, what's the point? Everything for me was about historical data and staying relevant. But when I first started using stories, I thought, what's this? But if you try it, you will see people love stories. And what I think it is about is it's real. It's a lot more real than these. If you look at mostly on Instagram, for example, it's very manufactured posts. And if you look on stories, it's kind of real and raw. It's a bit like all of us in our videos today. This is the raw us. It's not a video where we've got makeup and lighting and all effects. This is the raw us. And that's what I think why stories do so well, because it's real and it's raw. And you can now save them to highlights. So you can keep some of the stories in different things. So I think a lot of our brands, we're doing that now, but a lot of the stories just get lost afterwards. So everything's becoming in this real-time, immediate response now. Is that okay, Lorenzo?
Yeah. I guess the slight follow-up question is that because I'm using bloggers or other people basically to promote my product. My product is a kind of pasta, let's say, and obviously some of these people want to get paid for it, and they propose, okay, for this amount of money, I will make 2 posts and 3 stories. And I always think, but what do I really need the stories? Because they will be there for 24 hours, and yes, some of their audience will see it, some will not.
Yeah.
And you won't be able to reuse them in other channels or point people to that later on. And I'm saying, well, I don't know the value of it. Maybe. That's my gut feeling.
done a lot of work with influencers and working with them. And I'm not sure what product you're selling, but it should be, can you tell me what you're selling? What?
Yeah, it's a very special type of pasta, let's say noodles, but they are diet noodles, so 0-calorie noodles. They're good for people on diets and people who care about, they're super expensive, but good if you're on a special diet.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear. So it's really something different, which is great for social media because something different can always work. But when you're working with influencers, maybe not have so many, but maybe have fewer, but where the people actually like your brand. You with me? Rather than trying to just have people promote it, is actually have people that love your brand and work with your brand, because their followers, if it comes out more and more during their day or what they're doing, and they're plugging you in, that's more real than them doing a paid promotion, which a lot of their followers are aware it's paid and they understand the business of it, but it doesn't influence them as much. But if someone really says, I love this brand, I'm using it, I'm a fan, it's like when Kylie Jenner promotes Pepsi, but they're caught you drinking Coke. You want someone that really connects with your brand and uses your brand, and then you get the best out of it. So when they plug you in on stories, even if it deletes, people are saying, hey, my influencer's using that.
Yeah, no, of course, it's easier, of course, that, I mean, there's plenty of people writing to me, oh, I love your product, I'd like to put it on my stories and so on, and maybe send me some samples, etc., etc. But these are people with, 5,000 followers, whereas the people who actually, they'll be working with, they have maybe 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 followers, and these want to be paid for their shares.
I think just always be, do you remember with Google search, it became so manipulated on how to get rankings in the search engine that actually had nothing to do with who was the best quality site. It had to do with who understood how to manipulate it the best. And I think that's what's happened in influencer marketing now, is a lot of people have understood how to build these followers either by buying them or artificially growing their numbers, growing the engagement on their posts. So that on paper, they look good, but in reality, I would rather have people that are with 5,000 people that are really connected to their brand and their followers, and they're really engaged with them, rather than someone that's got these artificial numbers that are just blown up.
Yeah,
okay.
I think. Sorry, Lorenzo, go ahead.
No, I would just say thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for advice.
Yeah, I'm just gonna echo some of the comments we are having on the chat about how stories give you more engagement and so on, and how some of our participants, James, Amir, they are saying that they have seen a massive increase in engagement using stories, right? So it's what John was saying.
Yeah. I didn't understand it. I didn't believe in it. I saw my daughter using TikTok and I was like, what the hell? It deletes after. What's the point? But it drives so much now. And even I was doing a vegan meetup, and there was an Italian influencer there, and I don't like myself on video, so I never film myself in stories. And he said to me, what are you doing, man? You teach the stuff. You've got to get in front of camera and do it. It deletes after 24 hours. And the videos that I now have started putting up of me talking on my camera get by far the most engagement from me. So people don't care that I don't look good on there. They want me. They want the raw me. They don't want this manufactured setting. So
yeah. Okay, let's move on so that we can cover everything.
Okay, so just to say, I own TenerifeMagazine.com and Canary Green and Canary PR. That's a social media agency. And basically, I just wanted to talk about sustainability. I think this is not a fad or a trend that's happening now. If your business or your personal brand is not thinking about sustainability and how do I evolve into this green road that we all should be on now, you have to be doing that for your personal brand, for your small business, for everything else. Am I investing in the local community, in sustainable, in my business? Am I connecting with the community? Because I do think that people very soon will be saying, what are you doing for sustainability and connecting? And I was saying that Tenerife Magazine is going to evolve into a sustainable tourism platform. Canary Green is sustainable, and Canary PR is a social media agency, but we wanted to say this in January, but obviously with the way this year's gone, everything's just gone to pot. is we want to say that we will only work with companies that have a sustainable project. And we still want to do that. We want to come out and say, that's who we're going to deal with. So in your personal brand, start putting things like that, because I do think this is not going to go away. This is only going to get stronger. And you can see now we were talking about the latest climate change study from the EU was saying that in the next 12 years, this was 2 years ago, in the next 12 years, we need to drastically change the way we are working and the way we are doing it. And I think what's happened now with COVID-19, and you can see all these studies saying that the air pollution's cleaned up over Beijing and all these places that are in lockdown, you can see that the world is recovering. So I think COVID-19 is going to be a catalyst for this greater change of less essential travel. It'll be based on essential travel and movements, more conference calls like this. So I think you need to think about yourself and think about your small business and your job. Is it heading towards this way? So embracing digital transformation, embracing sustainability are two important factors, in my opinion. Okay, a lot of people will be out of work or looking for work coming out of this section now. So I just wanted to put 6 steps for you. If you're changing jobs or changing direction, is really try and say to yourself, what do I love doing? Like, I mean, I love my job. I honestly can say that I love doing what I do. It doesn't feel like a job. I often can be working Sunday nights and I don't feel, oh my God, I'm working. I'm working, okay? Be clear online so that what you love doing is what comes out loud and clear. I remember I did a training session in Club La Santa, which is a sports hotel in Lanzarote, and the people that were coming there for job interviews, what they were doing is looking at their Instagram before. So if the guy was coming, was a bike mechanic, for example, they were looking at his Instagram, and if he had no photos of bike mechanics on his Instagram, they wouldn't even have him in for an interview. It doesn't matter how good he was, how many recommendations. So it was strange where they're saying that your passion, what your interests are, should come through your social media, through your platforms. And again, so many times, I'm not seeing people being consistent. So you can see that people just drop off Twitter for 6 months, for example. They don't update their Facebook for a year. So it has to be consistent because it's your voice. So the platforms that you are saying that I'm playing in, you need to try and be consistent in all of it. So it doesn't look that you're out of date in what you're doing. And again, the same as the principle we were talking about before is publish and engage, be real time. The real secret, I've worked with a few brands over a long period of time, and each time it's come back to one thing that's made it work with them. It's not about what I publish, the beautiful videos I publish. It's about the engagement with the community, building the community around your brand, that people talk to you, they have fun with you. It's not about me selling to you. So it's becoming less about what a brand says and more about what the community says about your brand and talks around your brand. So that's your personal brand or your company brand. It applies the same. And again, what I said before, being in a constant state of learning, to embrace change. So not to fear. A lot of people have a lot of anxiety through this period now, through this lockdown. But I think what we need to do is embrace the change that's coming and not fear it, is to actually say there's going to be opportunities coming out of all of this and to have a positive approach to all of it. And it's all about learning and evolving. So it's to embrace change and to be learning all the time. And again, it comes back to what I was talking about with sustainability, and is doing good for your community, doing good for your environment. Let that come through your private profiles and let that come through your personal business. Okay. Right. Any questions on that personal branding? Is there anyone else? Elsa, anything?
Not for now. I think we are running a bit tight, so just move on to the crisis. If anyone has any questions, please keep posting them. I will interrupt.
Okay, if I've gone over time, I'll be a bit quicker with this. So I think with COVID-19, I think there's 3 main sections we've got to think about now. The one is managing this lockdown crisis that we're in now. And I think a lot of us are like rabbits in the headlights, just frozen, and we're not sure what's the next step. And what's going to come after that is how we recover from this period, is how do we come out with our brands in a way that we're going to get business again? Because so many people are going to lay it off. So many businesses are going to go out of business. We need to figure out how, if you're trying to find a job, if you're a business that's got to recover, that process is going to be a whole section which we have to think about. And then we have to think about the long-term implications of what this crisis is going and how to manage it. And if I look at, I just want to use one example because we were talking about with Elsa about having some examples. So this is a client of ours, Purdy Gray. This is my brother. He's the owner of the resort. And when the crisis came out, he straight away sent an email. He had a meeting with his head of departments, and he sent, it's a small hotel with 100 rooms. They've got heads of departments for reservations, reception, food and beverage, accounts, that kind of thing. So he had a meeting with them. And what he said straight away is, I'm going to guarantee everyone's job. He sent that off all to the staff, because what was happening is the one thing was the emotional and psychological thing of dealing with the lockdown. The next thing was the financial worry that was going to come with it. So when my brother put that out right in the beginning, he said, even if this is going to cost me a lot of money, I'm going to do it, because what it allowed the team to do is to suddenly say that one problem is out of the picture. I've got another client, I won't say who they are, but they canceled my contract on day one. So day one, it got canceled, and Purdy Gray called me in and said, this is the most important period for social media for us. So I just want to go through how they dealt with this crisis. One was coming out and saying that everyone's holidays that were booked in this period, we will offer you a free cancellation fee and free to move your week to later in the year or to next year, free of charge your booking. Okay, so nobody was losing anything in terms of their bookings. If people had their flights delayed or canceled, he never charged them extra nights if they had to stay at the hotel, because we didn't have other bookings coming in. We didn't charge them extra for that. So this open transparency of togetherness, of community, really was a message came out, and this got thousands and thousands of views from a small client list with their owners. We then did a program where we asked all the staff at home to make videos of themselves. And so this is on the left, a guy teaching us how to make home wine. The one on the right is the manager of the restaurant Quo, and he was then serving his daughter's dolls. And that got it reached 21,000 people. That little video clip, that was 1 minute long. So we did a whole series of these videos, and we did a competition with the guests and the owners of the resort to make videos and to send their photos, and they could win a free week, which they can take within the next year of their holiday. And this was the winning video from one of the mothers, and that worked really well. We put the Tourism Tenerife launched a campaign called We'll Be Back. I don't know if any of you heard of that. So we piggybacked that campaign, and we did a video with voiceover, inspirational, saying we will be back. And that also got almost 8,000 views, that kind of video. We then filmed the streets of Kalasivaki, which is the town where the hotel is, empty, and we put that on, and that got 23,000 reach, and I think 15,000 video views. And then on the right, that's the reception, because we had a lockdown, but we still kept the reception running. And that was William on day 4. We did all these funny videos of him each day, how he was evolving into finishing up on the sunbed after day 4. So that also got thousands of views. So this is from the 10th of March until the 6th of April, 44,000 engagement and 64,000 video views with more than 3 seconds viewing. So basically what I'm saying to you is we used humor, we used factual information, we used the community, and we got more engagement. And if you look at the engagement, it's not just looking at likes on a post. We had hundreds and hundreds of people writing long paragraphs, wishing us all well, wishing us support, counting the days until they can come back. So what we've done is we've generated this whole anticipation for when we open, and we're going to coincide it with a new video and relaunching that people can have a discount if they book now for the next 12 months. So we want to get that energy levels back. So if you look at crisis management, how Purdy Gray did it, and how some of these other people that just locked down and closed everything in fear, that way I don't think you win. I think tackling this head on, being factually correct, being honest and transparent, because a lot of this stuff would never have made it onto our social media platforms. Historically, we would never put this kind of quality video on our platforms, but it's being time sensitive. So a lot of the other hotels in the area here, what they're doing is they were scheduling posts for 3 months in the future. So when we were in lockdown, we were still getting photos of kids jumping around the pool saying it's a wonderful day in Tenerife, because that was scheduled 3 months before. So it was totally tone deaf to the situation, to what was happening. And I see a lot of brands just never understood how to transition into that kind of real transition. So if you're a small business, I would definitely say make sure it's in-house and you looking at your social media and reacting, rather than just giving it to an agency to manage your whole thing. Like, we're an agency, and I always tell our clients, it's not just outsourcing it all to us, it's working with us where we help manage it with you. So you're involved, you see what's happening, it's relevant, it's open, it's transparent. Okay. And then we're running out of time, so I'm not going to go into this, but I was the marketing manager for the Lanzarote Marathon for 4 years. And one year we had the biggest storm we've had for 100 years, the night before the marathon. We had people stuck in the airports. We had families worrying about the safety of all the runners. We had 12,000 runners stuck at different places. It was a total nightmare. So in the end, the decision was taken out of our hands to cancel the event earlier the day before. And the government decided that, the local government. And the boss said, okay, come on, everyone. We're all going to the pub. The marathon's canceled. And my team and we went into we called it the engine room. And we had 150,000 engagement in one day, purely from people wanting to get answered questions, photos of how bad is the storm. Next year, we're going to make it better than ever. So again, it was tackling it head on, not locking down and being quiet, but being more open and transparent, and even having humor with it. We had some funny photos in the reception of people in lockdown, and people still racing each other around the reception in a kind of marathon race. So that's the way for crisis management is: come out, be open, transparent, motivate your team. That's when you should be at your strongest, not at your weakest. Okay, I'm done. Elsa, over to you.
So is that the last slide? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that was if we had more questions. I wrote my own questions.
Okay. Yeah. So great, John. Thank you so much. It was very interesting, and I'm seeing here. There were some questions about what about Bing. Michaela was asking that, and Jake, he was replying to her saying, look at the statistics, and yeah, Bing is only 2.55% of the whole market. Yeah. So yeah, I guess I
think it's all Google now. It's
exactly.
All, and YouTube is the second biggest search engine now. So, you know, we talk about videos, we talk about everything else, and then some of your videos actually come up in Google search. So
yeah, exactly. And last week we were talking about Google, YouTube a lot, and we also said the same thing. I don't know, remember, so yesterday when we were doing the dry run, we said, well, if anyone wants to share what their business is about, or, you know, what are you struggling with? We have John here. Be open if you want some advice on how to handle your social media now that we're in crisis, or anything you want to share. We're open to that. We still have, we can stay here for a few more minutes, maybe 10, 15 minutes. So feel free if you have any questions, or if you want to see more examples. A lot of people are saying, thank you, John, great session. So it seems everyone enjoyed it. Any other questions?
If anyone wants to, are you going to give them my details afterwards if they want to ask me any questions privately, if maybe they don't want to do it publicly now?
Sure.
Feel free to connect with me afterwards. In fact, feel free to connect with me on social media afterwards.
Yeah,
I'm open to connect. Yeah.
Exactly. Feel free to reach out to John. I'm also going to send a quick survey to hear your views. If any of the people who are listening to us now would like to give a webinar for the community to benefit from, also reach out to me. I'm putting together webinars for the next few weeks. So if you want to talk about anything you think might be relevant for all of us, would love to hear from you. So, or if you have any suggestions on topics we can talk about, that would also be great. So yeah, we are open to any suggestions. I don't know, John, you want to ask yourself any questions?
No.
Guys, I have a question actually. Sorry, I was a bit on and off, but I actually saw the part where of the Google search on your own name, and I thought it was very interesting. And I thought your profile, John, looks very clean and very polished. I'm actually wondering what you can do actively to modify your appearance on a Google search, whether it's curating your profiles or whatever you actually do.
Well, the problem is John Beckley. There's a few John Beckleys. In fact, there's a famous artist called John Beckley in the States, and he bullied me in the search results. So I used my there's a guy called David Merriman Scott, and he gave me the idea to use your full name everywhere, so that people start, when they Google you, they use John Dale Beckley, and that's how it comes out. So is if you've got a very common name, is make sure, but Google picks up all of this stuff. If you're on Twitter and you're active on Twitter, Google will pick it up and put it in the first page of your name, unless you got a famous actor or someone like that. Then they might put in the location or your company name alongside with it.
Actually, Jig, he's saying that it will definitely help if you use the name brand in the image's meta description, as you said earlier, John. If you have your own website, I'm getting some questions of the webinar will be it's being recorded, so I will share the link afterwards, and it will be in our social media as well, in our YouTube channel.
I have another question.
Yes, please, Lorenzo, go ahead.
My question is, you spoke earlier about, let's say, engaging the audience and having them provide content, which is very much what I would need, because I would say that my brand, let's see, I don't have a lot of content that I can provide. Well, we can get into that, but mainly my point is, you mentioned, for example, a giveaway or a contest or something like that, which is one way. I've done it in the past. It works, but it's not exactly legal, at least in Italy, because any contest, even if you're giving away a free sample, you need to go through a bunch of hoops with the government to be legally fine and not risk any big fine from somebody. So any other ideas to get people to engage?
I think so when I went first to Pearly Grey, which is a small hotel, my brother, the owner, he said to me, but this hotel, we don't have any activities, we don't do anything, we've got one sea view. What can you do? There's nothing you can do for marketing, because it's such a boring product looking out. It's people come for the sun and look out like that. And we did two things. One, we made funny videos. So we did videos with the guests, and they were very short, very rough with my phone, but they were topical. So for example, we had this 6'7" guy staying at the resort with tattoos and everything. And we did a fun video where we said he's been employed to stop people booking their sunbeds at 9 o'clock. And then we filmed him stopping another couple trying to come into the pool area to book a towel early in the morning. So you had this really massive guy, and the video got 22,000 views like overnight. It was incredible. But then we did another video where, I don't know if you remember the doctor that got punched in the face and dragged off United Airlines a few years ago. We made a video where we told the guests to get off the sunbed because the staff had their lunch break, and then we picked them up and we threw them in the pool, and we got the security involved, and it was fun, and it got 44,000 views. But historically, no hotel would do that. They wouldn't go and have fun with the guests in such a raw format. But if you looked at the engagement and the building of the community, that was really the foundation of how we built that community around the brand, was just having pure fun with it. So I think if you can start looking maybe at how other brands are using fun, humorous videos with cooking, that's one way. Another way could be maybe doing cooking shows, how to use different recipes with your pasta, and doing cooking videos like that, like a series. And even partnering with other brands where they can get involved with you. So it could be either restaurants that are using your dish or something like that.
Mhm.
Or I can add to this a bit more, like there's another option like this. I'm putting into a link where a restaurant made a wall, a painting, which is now the main tourist attraction in the town. You can see that. This is actually a burger place.
Okay, yeah, the link is in the chat if you want to check it out, Lorenzo.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I think the
Yeah, okay.
hardest thing I see is that brands find it hard to have a laugh and to relax the brand image. Like often I go and speak to companies and they keep talking about brand reputation and they keep trying to lock it down and make it too serious, especially the luxury brands that I've spoken to. Humor doesn't come into it at all, really. It's all this kind of stage perfect imagery. So if you can, whether it's with a wall or whether it's something gimmicky but I think just try and relax on your brand and have fun with it. And that's what, in my experience, what works better.
I like the idea, and I've been struggling with it quite a bit because our brand is sold mainly to people on diets, and it's very tricky to do something funny that doesn't make fun of them. Basically, you know, when you start talking about diets, almost of the fun is making fun of people overweight, which is exactly the customer. So you don't want to make fun of them.
Yeah,
in a way that they get offended by.
If I had to show you what I've done with some of our guests, we've really pushed the boundaries of what we can do and can't do with them. So I think sense of humor, you've got to give it to people. They will take a lot if it's funny and if it's humorous.
Okay.
And
all right, thank you.
I think try things. You'll be surprised when if people are, you know, you could have some kind of social media challenge that people take on with the pasta, you know, some kind of, you know, like on TikTok,
like most
they have
beautiful dish, or I don't know. I'm just brainstorming.
No, of course, we've done that before. As I said, it's possible, but it's borderline legally to do any, if there's any kind of prize involved.
Yeah.
And
yes.
But what's trending at the moment, Lorenzo, is that a lot of the personal trainers and fitness groups, they're coming online into this kind of platform. I don't know if you've seen these videos online where they're doing morning sessions, workout sessions, and people are logging in and doing their workout with the group. And people feel connected in the community and all that. But all these people are thinking about their weight, thinking about what they eat, thinking about working out. And I think that's not going to, I think a lot of this is going to stay in place after we finish COVID-19. It's been forced upon us, but people be that. So maybe trying to get involved in some of these communities where they're doing it online and they're doing these training online that you can.
Yeah, or for example, cooking live, no? So I was cooking the other day with a bunch of friends. We were all connected and we were all cooking at the same time and we learned from each other. So maybe.
Yeah,
it's a good idea, actually. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Thank you, James, also for your suggestion. He's saying that we can maybe do a session on what's the best online business tools for managing businesses like Slack, Jira, etc. That's a good one. I will take note of that. And thank you everyone for your.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I didn't talk about. It's like what, you know, those businesses that moved everything into the cloud. So whether that's with Google Drive and Google Email, everything's moving towards that kind of cloud format where you can work wherever, work from home. That's what this has shown us, this COVID-19. So it's kind of, we didn't go today into tools that we're using to publish, but you can see this is part of this digital transformation that's happening. And the tools are going to become important as well.
Yeah, but before the tools is all the methodology and the planning that goes before that, right? The tool is only the last part of the whole planning.
Exactly.
But great. So I think we're going to close here. Thank you, everyone. Again, thanks a million, John, for your great webinar and everything you taught us today. I hope everyone has taken some useful tips for their own brands and their own businesses. And hope to see you all soon, and stay tuned. I will send you guys all the info so that you can check again the webinar if you missed anything. Yeah, and we're open for suggestions always.
I mean,
Take
also
care,
what you
everyone.
could what you could do is, I don't know if you want to do this, is kind of have a closed group maybe on LinkedIn, and if people wanted to join that group, this could be continuous, where people could plug their own business and we help them as like a community. And if Work and Play was interested in doing something like that, you could create this group, and I would help contribute towards it, that people could show what they've done or show a video that they've produced and then get feedback from the community. And it could start from something like this if you wanted.
Okay,
So
sure. We
speak
can
to me
talk
afterwards.
about that.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Keep it up and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Talk to you all
everyone. Bye.
soon. Bye. Bye. Thank you.